So we're going to go to this other little video that I think it's going to be pretty interesting. It's only a couple minutes long. Let's take a look.
Store shelves stripped of baby formula. During a nationwide shortage, mothers are struggling to feed their babies.
Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us how one Utah mother is trying to help by sharing her supply of breast milk.
And I figure I'm running out of room, so might as well help someone else.
Alyssa Chitty has 3 freezers full of breast milk.
I know I have over 3,000 ounces. 3,000 ounces downstairs and probably almost 1,000 upstairs.
At first, she wanted to donate it all to a local milk bank, but decided it was much easier to list it online.
I have looked into it, and I was working with a group, but my daughter has SMA, and we've been in and out of primaries, and so it's just been hard to go do the blood work and go do all the other stuff, and that's the only thing that's stopped me from doing that part.
Mountain West Mothers Milk Bank says they would need more than 300 donors to be able to meet the needs in the community. During this donor shortage, they've gotten down to 175. Even if hundreds of moms were to step up and volunteer to donate today, it would still take months for the bank to meet the demand.
The donor screening process, because we are very thorough and it does require a blood test, on average it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. We do have donors that are motivated that can get it done in 2. It would probably take us 2 to 3 months to really get to where we can start looking at providing for the outward community that's outside of the hospital.
Chitty hoping to sell her breast milk at $1 per ounce, but she says she's willing to negotiate with moms because she understands what they're going through.
It was making me nervous just because, so my daughter was very, very colicky, and I know a lot of moms need specific formulas for babies with upset tummies, and I know how hard it can be when they're upset and there's something you can do about that stomach pain.
In Tooele, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Buying and selling breast milk online is legal but unregulated. The FDA says when human milk is obtained directly from individuals or through the internet, the donor is unlikely to have been screened for infectious diseases or contamination risks.
So, I like that little last bit because the same thing can be said for the medication we're taking. I'm not sure where the key ingredients for baby formula comes from, but heck, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised it comes from China. So, your thoughts, Dr. Palmer, you're a pediatrician. So what do we do about the baby formula shortage?
It's just very unsettling. So most of our formula actually is made in the United States, in the United States. And what I mean by that is kind of they're giants in the formula making world, and Abbott, who's the company who has had to close down, is one of the giants. So I think it's like 3 or 4 companies that kind of corner that market. And Abbott is a United States company. So basically I looked it up. I read it a couple of days ago. There's actually a whistleblower from the company who called the FDA and let them know that it had a complaint in October. And then the FDA looked into it in December. And then the company issued the recall in February. And then from that, they shut down because there were 4 cases of children being ill, and 2 of those children died.
Oh, wow.
So that's what happened. And so with Abbott being a major giant which is Similac in the formula world, and with them shutting down, then all of that comes off of the shelf, because now they gave us numbers to call parents at first and say, if your child is on this formula and the formula was made during these dates and they have these numbers on them, then throw it away. So at first people were going through and looking at their numbers and kind of saying, oh, this is in this, and so throw it away. And then some of us were just saying, just switch over to another formula. But anyway, when you lose a giant like that makes a large percentage of the formula, and you're left with smaller companies that are not used to making that much bulk, then you have people panicking and overbuying. Same thing that happened with the toilet paper. Now you have a crisis, and you're laughing, but it's serious. So it's kind of like everything is the perfect storming together.
So the problem is those greedy moms buying all that breast formula. Is that the problem?
No, the problem is that Abbott closed their doors and all of their formula got pushed to the side. Like, nobody wants to take the risk. Now they are making precautions for people who do have metabolic diseases and need special formulas. They're kind of saying the benefit outweighs the risk. So if they really need this special formula, they can call the company directly and get it. But the parent has to know that it may be contaminated. Now, that contamination piece is a little bit, I don't know, because when the FDA went in and did the studies to find the bacteria that these children died from, they didn't find the bacteria in the powders. They found the bacteria in an area that was not a work area, apparently, for making the powders. But the company said they knew that because of changes in society and people because of the coronavirus staffing situation, they had become more lax on their protocol of keeping things clean. So sanitation was a problem at the plant. They admittedly said that. And, so since they said that, then they said, okay, we're just going to shut down. And so that's what creates this burden on the system. And, I know that, we're going to say, I know everybody knows we're going to say, well, they should be breastfeeding anyway. But that's the goal. But in reality, right now there's some moms who are stuck, because if you don't continue breastfeeding from the beginning, then your milk supply is not there.
So I'm going to get to Yuma's question in a minute, but let me just ask you this hypothetical. So let's say you're in a situation, you're a mom, you got a baby, and there's no breast milk on the shelf, no breast milk on the breast. What would happen if that mom created a seed milk? She went and soaked and smoothied some, let's see, hemp seed or sesame seed or whatever, and pressed it and that type of thing, and had the baby drink that. Would the baby die, or what would happen to the baby?
Now, let me speak regulation first. So by regulation, these companies are very tightly regulated. And that's why a lot of companies don't hit the mark to be qualified to make baby formula, because by definition, all of them have the same nutritional value. It's just, a difference in taste or whatever probiotics they add or whatever. So they have certain things that they all have to contain.
I'm talking about a mom making a seed.
I know what you're saying, but the seed milk is not going to contain what the law says formula needs to contain.
I understand that.
It would not qualify. I'm saying, let me speak regulation first.
Sure.
And then we can speak.
So regulation, you got to meet regulation.
Right. So you got to meet regulation.
But now let me okay. Time out.
Okay.
Got to meet regulation. So if a mother gives her baby some seed milk that she makes that doesn't meet regulation, does she gets arrested?
No.
Well, what is the crime? Who must meet regulation? See, the thing is,
I'm saying, if you're trying to sell this, if you're trying
but she's giving it to her baby at home. She's at home. She can't buy it.
Okay.
She's at home.
Now, there's somebody in the chat that said their grandmother made, or their mother made milk with evaporated milk, Karo syrup, water. Is that okay? So, I mean, there are probably ways of doing it, but when you go to the doctor and your baby is underweight, because I've seen this, and your baby is underweight, and we're asking you, what are you feeding your baby? And you say hemp seed water, then CPS is going to get called. Yes.
So you have this. So basically, it's better to feed your baby nothing than give them hemp seed water that you have. There's no baby formula on the shelf. You have no access to it. So
well, this has never happened before. So
but I'm just asking.
So in reality, so really formula is just it's some cow milk protein in there. It's corn syrup in there. It's some other fillers in there. So it's not like it's necessarily magic in it. So if you know, I'm saying if you know what you're doing and somebody makes a formula in the community who knows what they're doing, then it's probably, I would say, okay, but who's testing it? But
the mother's breast milk doesn't have cow's milk and additive cereal. So does that not meet regulation?
See, you're trying to be funny.
No, I'm not being. In the video, the lady's going to sell breast milk online. And
right.
they're going to start selling in that place. They're getting human breast milk.
When you sell human breast milk, it has to be tested to make sure the mother doesn't have hepatitis. The mother
I understand that. Yeah.
The mother doesn't have.
I agree.
Because when you're drinking somebody else's breast milk, you're drinking a bodily excretion.
But the human
cow, I know.
Let's say the breast milk is tested. Does it meet regulation? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't have cow's milk in it. It doesn't have the cereals and other additives. How does it meet regulation?
I'm not saying that all of the formula doesn't have cow milk. Some of it is soy, and some of it, yes, there are other types of formula. But I'm just saying, see, you're trying to be funny. I'm just saying the main, what people are talking about mostly is cow milk based formula. They don't sell human milk based formula in the store.
All right.
So, I mean, that's not really up for discussion because it's not in the stores. Now, you can, if your baby is a NICU baby or your baby has other issues, yes, they do get you go to milk banks and you can get human milk because there are women who give their milk or sell their milk to milk banks for mothers who need that. In the NICU, we use a lot of human milk fortified for the babies for growth. So yes, that is ideal, but now you have a whole different. It's a little bit harder, like the lady said in the on the news report. It's harder. You have to screen the mothers. It takes some time because now you are giving a blood product from another person to a baby.
But see, we give blood products all the time, and I think basically you just set up a system. And with a system, you can do it. I mean, blood banks exist. They have a system of giving blood from one person to another. If you can get blood from one person to another, why can't you get breast milk from one person to another?
I'm not saying it doesn't. It's not doable. I'm just saying it's a little bit more complex because of the blood products, but then also because of the diets and things like that. So it's not going to be beautiful for everybody because our diet is so different across. And, so a lot of times people say, oh, I breastfed, so they think that their child is going to automatically be healthy. No, not if you're eating McDonald's every day. It doesn't, that doesn't guarantee health. So breast milk by itself does not guarantee that your child is going to be healthy. But we're talking about getting the child breast milk to get them nutrition. I know, but so there are many other things that kind of play in when you kind of talk about.
And no, I agree. And of course, the cow's not eating the healthiest diet either. He's eating corn and other cow brain. But the human wants to know about eating peanuts and peanuts.
But hold up. But with the cow milk, I mean, hold up. Let me clarify. Because the cow milk protein, like formula, is very little cow milk, so it probably doesn't even matter what the cow is doing. As I said, it's mostly like rice. I think it's like rice starch and corn syrup and water and a little bit of cow milk protein. So it has so many other things in there. It don't matter what the cow ate.
Well, quickly, a human's question about peanuts. If you eat peanuts, the baby has peanut allergies. What could happen with the peanuts? Anybody want to comment on peanut allergies?
That could be a problem if you're breastfeeding and the mother eats peanuts. That could be a problem for the baby. And Dr. Palmer, I agree with what she said. She's put in a difficult position because as a pediatrician, she has to recommend what, the formula and components they recommend. But I've always been concerned about infant formula because the quality of ingredients in there, like the corn syrup and, GMO, organic, it's not GMO, organic soy, all this, cow's milk, etc. And I had researched for a family member that had a special needs infant at the time. There are online. There are recipes to make plant-based, holistic, omega-3 rich milk, but most mothers are not willing to do that. But there's recipes to put omega-3s in it, like hemp seed or spirulina, to use a plant, to start with a plant-based nut milk that perhaps is safe for your baby. But you have to put a lot of nutrients in there, and you have to be conscientious. But there are recipes available for a conscientious parent to make some.
And that little thing that you mentioned earlier.
Can I add this too? Now, we know that, and probably our audience knows that. But when you do that as a parent and you go to your doctor and you tell your doctor that you're doing that, they are going to be very upset with you, because in pediatrics, it is seen as a no-no to give your child a plant-based milk. I'm just letting the audience know that.
No, but I understand that. But here's the thing. I'm not going to say the words I want to say, the more appropriate cuss words that need to be applied to sentiment. But I mean, the bottom line is that the system is broken, and I don't know. I'm going to go out and say, look, this breast milk shortage is a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, I mean, you both just outlined the problems with not breast milk, but the formula. Thank you, formula. Mm-hmm. There's a breast milk shortage too. The mothers don't feed that's another story. But anyway, this formula shortage is a good thing, I think, because a shortage of something that's bad is good. And so I don't care what regulations it meets. We all know that these formulas are not real. You just mentioned it doesn't have much cow's milk, which is probably good.
But okay. And so let's be, we talked the other day. Let's look at that for real. So if we want all mommies to breastfeed, then all mommies should be able to stay at home to be with their child so that they can breastfeed while somebody else goes to work and pays the bills and helps with the other children. This is the reality of it.
No, I agree. There are moms who pump. I know moms who work and they pump, and they do that.
They pump some of the pump, and they also are using milk as a supplement, though.
Yeah, but this lady on the video, this lady had truckloads of milk.
I don't think that she's a working mom. Is she a working mom?
I don't know. Probably not. But she's
not pumping that much milk. She can't be working.
She's going to be working on business, selling milk.
But moms can pump and work and have enough. If they have enough breast milk supply, they can pump. And I did with my children when I worked in the emergency room. But it was challenging. But I did it. But it's possible.
But you were able to pump and work.
Yes.
And were your kids fully breast fed?
Yes.
So no formula.
Right.
No goat's milk.
No.
Just all mommy's milk.
Yes, that's possible. But it depends on your job and with your breaks and that you have that you can pump.
Oh my goodness, you're a physician working in the emergency room. What kind of more busy job get you?
It was challenging. But one of the questions was about Dr. Palmer about goat's milk. Asked about goat's milk.
Yeah.
What do you think about goat's milk?
It's another alternative. I know as far as we look at it in the plant-based world, it's another animal's milk, and it probably creates some of the same inflammation. But the thing is, it's not big in the industry, so it has, they don't treat the goats like they do the cows, right? So they're not probably getting injected as highly, or they're maybe not as sick as the cows are. I know that sounds bad, but truthfully so you may get a better digestion, and because it's more of a pure milk, which milk probably used to be a little bit better than it is now, but now it's become a whole industry, so it has become harsh.
And some people say goat's milk is closer in structure to humans' breast milk, and so.
But I mean, that might be many mammal milks. They're all mammals. Mammal milk. If you look at what we're doing to the cow. So
yeah, I agree with the cow, but some people say that the difference in goat's milk and cow's milk inherently, goat's milk is inherently different than cow's milk, and inherently it may have less casein than cow's milk, for instance. And so, anyway, that's what I've heard people say.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better digested than cow's milk.
Because as we know, the cow's milk is larger proteins to grow a cow, and they grow pretty fast.
Exactly.
And a goat is a smaller animal. So, I mean, yeah.
So again, I guess this shortage is going to end sometime soon. As we close out, what advice do you guys have for people? And by the way, we're going to do an in-depth show on this topic of these drugs, and you can join us on our community. Also, we're going to be talking, this is the 16th, and tomorrow night, Dr. Axe is going to be talking about prevention of breast cancer naturally on the community. So for those of you who are non-members, I'm going to scroll that at the bottom. You can go to montgomeryheart.com/journey to join the community, join as an inner circle. We're going to be talking about the natural prevention of breast cancer tomorrow evening with Dr. Atkins. Also, on the 14th of June, we're going to revisit this topic because we need to get a little more of a deeper dive in this topic of medication shortage and China's manipulation. We'll also touch base with the breast milk shortage. We're also going to have some recommendations, some things that you can do to minimize your dependence on drugs. We'll talk a lot about hypertensive drugs and other types of medications, but there are a number of things you can do to minimize your dependence on drugs. Of course, go on a natural plant-based diet, fresh air, sunshine, infrared sauna. There are a lot of things you do naturally. We'll talk about some supplements that you can use as well. So for non-members, join our membership at montgomeryheart.com/journey. I'll leave that on the scroller. What say you, my colleagues, about this whole issue? What are your final words and take-home messages? First, about the drugs shortage and China's manipulation and formula shortage. Really, can we lump them all together? If you want to lump them all together, please feel free to do so. Dr. Atkins.
Well, I just like to say, there's always hope, and you give us hope, Dr. Montgomery, when we talk about some of your patients' experience that you've started on the plant-based diet, the detox, and how they've improved and how you've reduced their medication. So I think it's wonderful to emphasize, that, the more we do the right thing, eat healthy, detox more, raw diet, organic, unprocessed diet, we can lower blood pressure and improve blood sugar and perhaps improve heart conditions and cholesterol. And maybe we need less medication, so we're not so dependent on the pharmaceutical companies. So we want to have hope that we take the power back in helping ourselves. Not saying I want anybody to stop taking their medications, but just to know the more you're willing to change and put the live, vibrant food in your system, increase the raw and plant-based and nutrient-dense, and stay away from the processed foods, we do so much better.
Thank you very much. I put you on mute. I think there's some background noise coming, but thanks for the comment. I think you're right in terms of Be careful weaning from your medication. You certainly want to become less dependent on them. Dr. Palmer, what are your final thoughts and comments?
So, I stand for the children. So this we try to bring this type of information because a lot of times these are things that we don't think about in talking about the prescription medications and over-the-counter medications. We don't think about where they come from because we just trust that if it's in the store that it's safe. And so when we bring this type of information, it's for us to kind of make a note of it in our mind and moving forward saying, say to ourselves, how can I make sure that my child does not have to use certain medications or any medications, that I'm just using food as my medicine and staying away from pharmaceutical medications as best as I can. Because at this stage, we don't really have control over that. And we are at the mercy of whatever these companies decide to do. So the only thing you can do is try to do your best such that you don't need certain medications to support your health. The formula, it's right now, the people who are affected, it's sad because I know it's frustrating for moms and for families. But yes, the message is moving forward, again, just like we talk about gardening and cooking and prepping things on your own and growing things on your own. We have to start thinking again about more being, feeding on our own. Mommy's getting back to breastfeeding is not just a cute thing, because it went from being don't breastfeed because we have formula to breastfeed is a cute thing to now it's a necessary act that needs to be done. So we have to change our mindset around that. It does mean some things in the family dynamic has to change, and mothers and women who are having all mothers need support, community support, friend support, aunties, grandmothers, people to support. And moms also have to be willing to accept help. Because I think a lot of things have changed in our society that we don't really think about. And it's affecting these type of things, because I'm saying that because people have their babies and they kind of separate themselves and become independent. And they're like, this is my family and this is my circle. That's not how we used to do it. It used to be a time when everybody comes together to help. And so, not to go on to a tangent, but I think that this shines a light on some of the other issues that have happened in our community, in our society.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a broader scope to health, and as you point out, family dynamics are very important. And so, this whole village raising a family, a child, et cetera, is important. And there are practical aspects of it, the psychosocial aspects of it. And so I think, you're right on point. And so I think many of these crises and shortages in a way are good. It's going to force us to re-examine where we need to be. Hopefully it will, and hopefully it'll force us to go back to the basics in terms of taking care of our bodies, nourishing our bodies, and the like. So, this is something that I think we should not be terrified by, but we should, stand up tall and start to take action in the affirmative. And I think from the standpoint of medications, if you're fortunate enough to have your medications now, try to wean yourself off with natural lifestyle approaches and the like, because it's going to benefit you not only in the short run, but in the long run. And when the next so-called crisis come along, you won't be left out in the dark depending on some medication that you can't get because you won't need it. And regarding the formula, I agree. Getting family support, mothers need to breastfeed more. It is challenging, but where there are challenges, people stand up and create solutions. I guess in the meantime, someone put in the chat, President Biden is giving the milk away at the border. So if you're in the tight, you can fly down to Mexico and come across the
They're
border.
probably giving the old milk away. They're giving the contaminated milk away.
Well, at least it meets regulation. Anyway. Guys, thanks a bunch. This has been a great show. I'll meet you back behind stage. And as I close out, it's always a pleasure to come on the show. I learn a lot. And, this is a very important topic because, we, as Dr. Palmer and also Dr. Axe alludes to, we're depending on, going to the supermarket and assuming something is safe and good because in the supermarket. And I give a lot of credit to supermarkets. I still use them to a certain extent. They have enhanced our ability to get food in an effective, efficient manner. On the other hand, we can't totally rely on these things. We have to think about how we can nourish our bodies naturally using our own means. Everyone doesn't have a big yard and can grow a garden, but you maybe have a porch, you can have a pot, you can grow greens in or herbs. Start with what you have and where you are and try to be resourceful in every action that you have. So again, hit the thumbs up and give us the like signal, subscribe if you haven't, and share this with anybody you think may benefit from this information. We enjoyed you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We enjoyed having your company. And until next time, keep it fresh, natural, and live.